Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast, where I, your host, Xavier Cruz, a lifelong wrestling fan, will take a lifelong friend through the action, the joys, and the drama of the world of professional wrestling. My co-host, Kelsey Silva, has been bitten by the wrestling bug, and I want to invite you to join us as I take her through the moments that made me a fan. So if you're new to wrestling and would like to get brought up to speed, or a fan who would like to relive some classic matches, promos, and segments through fresh eyes, join us as we embark on a journey through the Attitude Era and beyond. Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the October 20th, 1996 In Your House Buried Alive pay-per-view. And the match card is as follows. We had Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. We had Owen Hart and the British Bulldog defending their tag team championships in a rematch against the Smoking Guns. We had Goldust versus Wildman Mark Miro for the Intercontinental Championship. We had Vader versus Psycho Sid for the #1 contendership for the WWF Championship. And in the main event, we had the Buried Alive match, which was Mankind versus The Undertaker.
It's ludicrous is what it is.
This, from the top down, was an adventure. Madness. So the show opens with a lovely promo, kind of a montage of like the last couple weeks worth of promos from both the Undertaker and Mankind mashed into this like beautifully satanic little promo, setting us up for our main event.
It was insane. And there was a moment where they utilized like I think it was the Undertaker smacking Mankind with a chair as like the beats of whatever music was playing.
Right.
And so it would be like a little like clip and then it would be like smack. Like, but they did it like 5 times, like 5 different chairs back. And I was like, I didn't realize he was hit with a chair that many times. I kind of forgot.
Oh.
I loved the refresher.
Oh, he laid it in. He laid it in.
Oh my God.
And then, so we gotta kind of get like a little intro, the introduction team. We have Vince McMahon, we have Jerry the King, we have Jim Ross, and apparently Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler both have microphones, and Jim Ross does not, and he feels the need to let us know about it. So our first match, we had Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was not supposed to be the case. We were supposed to have Savio Vega versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, but apparently Savio Vega has been injured. My best guess is probably from one of the plethora of fights that he keeps throwing himself into.
The fisticuffs he keeps engaging into on no one's behalf but his own, which I love and respect. But
right.
He's been brawling.
Right. He's just been feuding with everybody. This is the first time that we get Stone Cold's kind of broken glass like theme, which is the theme that like he will like forever be associated with, is that broken glass like sound, and then his like new theme music.
I love it.
In this, we also kind of get a kind of more fully formed version of Stone Cold. We're kind of getting the finishing like touches. If you're noticing, we're getting a bit more language. We're getting he's flipping people off.
Yeah, that was insane. Like every other thing, he was like.
So this is really we're gonna start seeing things kind of geared towards more adult themed things, pretty much starting with this pay-per-view. If you like notice, this is kind of the first time like he's kind of like really showing an attitude. Like he's really brash. He says he's got a list and everybody's on it, and if they don't like it, they can just kiss my ass. Like just point blank is not pulling any punches anymore. So we're going to start seeing the product kind of change into something a little bit different. And and as I think from this point forward, we're kind of going to see things kind of escalate at a little bit of a faster clip than we have up to this point. Because if you notice, the first couple pay-per-views were kind of like a little bit slow to kind of like build up to like, yes, they kind of they announced like matches, but we weren't getting like feuds going into pay-per-views. Now we're getting like kind of a build up to these like pay-per-view matches. And like a great example is Mankind and The Undertaker have, this is what, their third pay-per-view match
Yeah.
So we're getting kind of longer term like storytelling, which is nice.
I like it. Yeah.
Because it gives you like a reason to be invested in these people.
Totally. And you can sense like the shift it felt so sudden. Like it was like 1 minute it was like geared towards a younger audience, and then the next it was like Goldust is like sticking
Extra
his tongue
gyrating.
out. Yeah, like and like saying he's gonna like tongue the audience. We'll get to that.
Right.
Like Stone Cold is flipping people off, saying "kiss my ass." The girlies are brawling on commentary. Like it just out of nowhere, like switch. It was like they had like a company wide meeting. And they're like, you know what? We've decided you guys can just let your freak flag fly. Like
Right.
just let it out.
Like
Like just
company
like
that's the name of the
company wide
company
memo.
Right.
Yeah, company wide memo. Like CC all. Like
Right.
let
Freak
your freak
flag.
flag
Find
fly.
it.
Find it, wave it, put it out front. Let's go. Like
The
and
company
everyone was
barbecue is
like,
going to be wild this year.
the Christmas party. Don't even get me started on the Christmas party. It's gonna be lit.
There's going to be
Yeah,
mistakes made.
mistakes. There always are at the Christmas party. Let's talk about it.
Otherwise, why did you go?
Why'd you go to the holiday party if you weren't planning on making life altering mistakes in your workplace? Why?
Get a little debauchery in your life. I'm sorry.
Might as well. One life to live. But yeah, the shift was tangible, very discernible, very sudden. I'm very into it. Very into it.
We are going to be barreling into the Attitude Era, which is really that's why we're here.
Only way I want to enter it is by barreling in recklessly.
So JR during this entire match, his microphone keeps cutting in and out, and he starts slowly descending into madness. The man, like every time he tries to make a point, his microphone goes off. Eventually he starts blaming Vince McMahon, who is sitting like not next to him, but with Jerry the King in between him, and like just blaming him for cutting his microphone off. And like it's a whole ordeal. He's becoming more and more irate as the match like progresses.
Yeah. And like he's making all these comments, saying all this stuff, like it's Vince McMahon, and then Vince McMahon does like I thought it was like a really subtle, like backhanded little slap, because he goes, well, I guess like thank God this isn't the World Series, right, JR?
And
I was like,
yeah.
I was like
and I was like, yikes.
Dang. Like he was like, thank God you're not doing anything important, otherwise this might be bad, but you're pretty much useless. So
basically and we're all just like sitting here just like, are we letting these like girlies fight in class like this? Like, are we all just gonna like let this happen?
And it was
and apparently we are.
Oh, we are. And, like, because I guess like one is not the president, or Vince McMahon is somebody.
He's like the owner. He's like the CEO.
So he's like the CEO, and then JR is the vice president. So it's like the higher ups are fighting at the table
and making Thanksgiving horrible for everybody,
as it usually is. But I just like and it was so passive aggressive.
Oh, absolutely
passive aggressive. It was like a clinic in being passive aggressive.
It was like being stuck between like two like Stepford wives who like won't actually say anything like horrible about each other, but like it's just like slightly just like, well, I was walking by your house and I noticed that like the lawn was looking a little like
ragged,
a little dry.
You're so busy.
Because it must be like, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, it must be because you're like so out of touch because you're out of town all of the time. You know what I mean? Like just subtle digs that aren't really digs, but like for some reason are enough to make you rage.
It's like, oh, okay, yeah, cheers to you finally getting lip filler. It looks so good.
Right.
You needed it.
Right. Oh,
wow.
Heinous. But this match, like, for having no buildup, was solid because these two,
good.
Like Stone Cold and Triple H will become like cornerstones of the company at different points. Basically, like Stone Cold, like his rise is meteoric.
Yes. He has a meteoric rise.
That's the one. Triple H is kind of the person that ends up after like The Rock and Stone Cold kind of have their day, and like the son, Triple H is really the one that kind of picks up the mantle. Like
I'm excited to see it. I am, which I know. I guess that's a long time coming. Then, or like,
yes, I mean, we're gonna see you'll see like a noticeable progression of Triple H from where he is now to like where he's like kind of headed. Where you see his like, you see the wrestler he's going to like become the final package, And then once he finally like gets to the top of the mountain, you kind of really see like how good he is.
Yeah, and I feel like they kind of tease that a little bit in this match, because I feel like recently he's been getting spanked in matches. Like he's just been getting railed, like so bad. And then and it's Stone Cold, who we know is an exceptional wrestler.
And they're spending a lot of time building.
Yes. And
they're about to put him in a feud with their former world champion. Like that, you don't do that if you don't think this man is going to like be something.
Skyrocket. Yeah. So but the fight was long. It was good. There was so much back and forth. Like Triple H, like really did, like he wrestled like I've never seen before. And I literally thought before you even said, like, I thought we were watching, I was like, I wonder if this is how they're like setting up, because he like held his own, at least. Like he didn't win, but he held his own.
I think we're seeing the tail end of him getting kind of like his punishment for the event in Madison Square Garden, and we're kind of starting to see
the comeback story.
Yeah, kind of just like he's getting his wheels like back under him again.
Yeah, and
is he still winning these matches? No. But you notice like he loses these matches due to like outside things. It's not like it's not just like like he couldn't get the job done. It's he had the opportunity to get the job done and then he got distracted.
Follow through. Yeah, he lacked the mental strength
to like, put it aside and kind of get it done.
Yeah.
So at one point they're going back and forth, like giving each other sleeper holds, and they do a double clothesline where they both end up kind of, on the floor, like floundering like fish. And Mr. Perfect comes down to ringside.
Crazy.
Stone Cold gets into, of course, Mr. Perfect goes to steal Triple H's lady, who, my apologies for neglecting to mention that there was another one.
Which, did we have to mention it? Like, we already knew.
Y'all should have known. Y'all should have knew.
Y'all knew.
This equestrian, like, handler.
This beast will have a beauty. It doesn't matter who it is. She will be there.
So of course Mr. Perfect comes down to Mr. Steal Your Girl, and like and then for some reason Stone Cold gets into Mr. Perfect's face, and basically he like comes down, he's like you literally hear him go like, get the out of here, like what are you doing here, like in his face, and
in your house, in your face.
He like kind of like shoves Mr. Perfect, like sends him on his way, and he goes to get back in the ring, and Mr. Perfect is like, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but like you will not disrespect me like that. And they start getting all up in each other's grill. Stone Cold goes to like an audience member, grabs like a beer or like a soda or something, and like dumps it all over Mr. Perfect.
He doesn't just dump it, he like shoots it up into his face. Like I know that went up his nose, and I know it hurt. Like it had
100%.
It was bad.
So, and then Triple H tries to like take advantage of this like whole scenario, and he like goes and like gets Stone Cold in the position to do the pedigree, and then sees Mr. Perfect at the top of the ramp with his lady and goes after him, and then like dumps Stone Cold on the floor and goes after Mr. Perfect, which is just bonkers.
So bad.
Which, for his poor planning, he gets a suplex on the outside, which is just on the concrete floor. He gets monkey flipped into the ring post, face first. Stone Cold flips him 2 birds, gives him the stunner, and then it's 1, 2, 3, and it's game over. Like
he could have pinned him. Could have pinned him, flopped, and then got his shit rocked. Like he didn't just get like whoops, now it's a turnover, like now it's on you. Like literally Stone Cold was like, all right, well, since you messed up, I'm gonna make you pay for it, and like really messed his ish up. I do want to say I think it was a complete shame that Mr. Perfect got a drink thrown in his face, only because that was the first nice suit I've ever seen him wear.
Honestly.
The first nice one. I was like, this is a shame, because they could have dumped it on the brown one last week, and I would have been like, an improvement, thank you God. But this one was royal blue. It fit him so nicely. It like cut in at the waist.
He didn't come down with the rat tail today.
He did at first, and then when he came back, they like almost like played up that he was still soaking wet from like half of a beer, and they like drenched his head in water, which I loved. We'll get to that, but like he did initially come out with a little rat tail, which I hate. But the suit was It was lovely, but then
They
he got a
won.
drink thrown on it. So this is why we can't have nice things.
Honestly. So the following match, we have a tag team championship rematch. We start this match with a little promo, kind of how we got here. And essentially it is a love letter from Billy to Sunny.
It's horrible.
Basically, Billy is just obsessed with Sunny. His obsession has basically been causing a rift between him and his brother, and they allude to the fact that that is the reason why they are no longer tag team champions. We then
Not no.
Absolutely,
I'm just saying it. Not no.
We kind of get a little like backstage like segment where they're talking to Billy, and he is only obsessed once again with gaining the tag team championships to regain Sunny.
It's sad.
It is sad.
It's so sad. I can't wait for them to break up, to be honest. Not him and Sunny, him and his brother.
Listen, it's probably coming because like this man has lost. He can't even think right.
Nope.
And she don't even want him.
Nope.
She don't even. That's the worst part.
That's
it's not even like, like she like rolled up and like has all of his attention and blah 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 blah, and like they're together. Like she does not care. Like that's the worst part.
She was literally at one point. They go backstage. She's cheering for the Bulldog and Owen Hart.
Yeah,
she's like
care. She fake. She a flip flopper supreme.
She only looks out for herself. That's it.
Absolutely.
And I can respect the game, but I don't want to watch it be played sometimes.
No, I get it. And so while this whole thing is going on, Jim Ross calls Sunny the most overrated manager in the history of the WWF. And once
Speak
again,
on it. Not no.
Just based on like results.
No, like, well, that's what I'm saying.
Results alone. Like, first of all, she's not managing anybody currently.
No one.
Second of all, like all of the tag teams that she had, she basically just jumped from like whoever had the tag team title to whoever beat the tag team she was representing. Like she just jumped with the titles. But now she kind of can't because Clarence Mason is there. So now she doesn't she's just beside herself. She doesn't know what to do.
She is I mean, again, there's little nuggets of truth in his tirades that JR goes through, little nuggets in there. And like, it's true. It's like you said, like, she's not managing anybody. What is she even doing there? She we just know Billy's obsessed with her. That's it. That's all we got.
Although we did get a Jerry the King Lawler quote from this little segment. It cuts to Sunny watching the match backstage, and JR goes, "Just wink at me and I'll do the rest." I wanted to light myself on fire. It was the only way to get that filth off of me. It was
hard to hear. It was hard for everything because he was just like, oh, because first of all, every time she came on the screen, he shrieked.
Like, yes.
And then he's like, come on, baby, just come down to the ring. Just wink at me and I'll do the rest. And I was like, because first of all, what is the rest, Jerry? What is it?
Something tells me the rest is approximately 2.5 minutes long.
And only forward thrust.
Correct.
No, nothing. No. There's no motion on that ocean. I'll just say that.
Let's just put it that way. Sorry, Jerry.
Whew. The rest of my patience, Jerry.
Gone. Absolutely gone.
Left the building. I don't know what we're doing.
Neither does he. So we go like through the match. Once again, Owen Hart and the British Bulldog are tag team excellence. They have quick tags going in and out. Their technical wrestling is spot on. They're countering the two himbos left and right. We get to a point where we have a miscommunication between the Smoking Guns, very similar to the one we had in the last championship match, where Bart knocks Billy off of the apron onto the floor, and then Billy like comes up and is like, WTF, like
hey,
and it's like, maybe pay attention. So we kind of we're going through the match. The Smoking Guns like regain the momentum. They're about to do this double team finisher where Billy Gunn like jumps off the top and does like a leg drop while simultaneously getting like a backbreaker done. So they're setting up for that. Billy Gunn's taking way too much time on the like setting it up, getting up onto the ring ropes. He jumps. The British Bulldog has Bart by like his belts, I guess, pulls him back at the last moment, saving Owen. Owen graces us with the beauty that is the spinning heel kick and gives us the pinfall for the 1-2-3 victory. So
they are exceptional, the Bulldog and Owen. And they're like brother-in-laws.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. We were talking about
British
this.
Bulldog is married to Owen's sister.
Right. And this was, I think it was a few weeks ago, you said, like, I mean, they spend so much time together. So obviously they're just so in sync. And it's so interesting because when you look at the other tag teams, I'm like, they're like a unit. You know what I mean? Like there's like, you know, the Smoking Guns, the New Rockers, like the, you know, whoever.
Godwins,
like, yes, they're like a unit. But it's so funny. The British Bulldog and Owen Hart, like, collectively don't make sense, but also to me they're my favorite tag team,
right?
Because they're just so good, but like they can stand on their own like very well, not that other tag teams can't, but like they, like, their team doesn't necessarily in terms of brand make sense, but they make sense together. Like they're just so good. They're just so good.
I know. And it's like, it's one of those things, I feel like by proxy they just kind of like got put together,
right?
But it just works out so well because they have the family thing. That's like the overlaying, like, you know, the glue, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think because they're also like the only tag team that isn't, you know, all matchy and what, you know what I mean? Like they stand out in that way, in a good way. Like they're not the only, they are the only thing visibly like different from the tag team like picture.
Yeah, and I love that about them. And like you would think that would be, I don't want to say like a
detriment.
Weakness. Yeah, I don't want to say that, but like, you know, it would be kind of like a, this doesn't make sense, like whatever. But it does. It just works. Yeah.
Phenomenal. So their reign as the tag team champions continues. So we're gonna see where they take it from here, because I would love to see them feud with every tag team they got. So
oh yeah, oh my god, 100%.
So after this match, JR has had enough. He is fed up. He takes to the ring to go get a live mic. Livid. He's basically just like, I've been trying to be a professional. They don't want to play, like, they just want to play games. I'm not going to go into how Vince McMahon has wronged me, even though he is going into how Vince McMahon has wronged him. He then goes on to take credit for Bret Hart, who will be appearing on Monday Night Raw in the next episode. So next week, guys, stay tuned. We're going to introduce Kelsey to Bret the Hitman Hart.
I'm so excited. It's really funny though. We know he's actually coming back, like the actual person. Correct. But like I feel like when he said that, the audience was like a little bit like, I don't know if I want to be excited because you said you were bringing back Razor Ramon and Big Daddy Cool Diesel and that's actually not them.
Right.
So because it's funny because we know, but they don't at that time. They don't know if he's like the actual wrestler Bret the Hitman Hart is coming back, but we do. But so the audience was kind of like, I don't know if I should be excited about this or not, because last time you said this, it didn't really go that well.
Right. And so JR says he's gonna come with a shovel to bury some people. He's going to be uncensored. And then Jim Ross starts going in on Vince McMahon again. He basically just tells him that he's like two-faced, and since he talks out of both sides of his mouth, he might as well just take both microphones and then just yeets the microphone at Vince McMahon, thus creating the mic drop. And I had no idea. No idea.
We were watching and that happened. We were screaming, obviously. And then Xavier was me, he goes, did you know? And I legitimately thought he was about to tell me some like crazy tea because like he's read the books, he's done things. He goes, did you know that Jim Ross invented the mic drop? I was on the floor. I was like, oh my god.
So good. I had no idea.
Did you know he invented the mic drop? And honestly, his aim was incredible.
It was
like basically landed right in Vince McMahon's lap.
Yeah.
From the ring.
I was like, okay, Jim.
And then he walked off and was like,
he was literally he's like, I'll see you tomorrow.
He literally said, I'll see you tomorrow on Raw. Bret the Hitman Hart. He just
100%. And then he bogued his ass all the way up the ramp.
yeah.
No.
He should have, honestly, it would have been incredible. But I
Um,
have to say, the fact that throughout the whole pay-per-view, the fact that even Jerry the King Lawler was like agreeing with Jim Ross. Like, he was like, I have to agree. The fact that your mic is not working is like kind of annoying. Like, why can't we just get tech out here? Like, this is weird. I have to agree with you. And like throughout the whole episode, you just see like how everyone is starting to get annoyed with Vince McMahon, like visually, like
visibly like
visceral.
displeased.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can see everyone is looking like viscerally frustrated
Annoyed.
with how
Yeah.
he's running things, because first of all, he hasn't been there in weeks. Though I do want to say I kind of missed him because he's a great match caller. Like I feel like he really like knows his stuff and he like calls the match so well, Vince McMahon.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that like everyone is kind of getting, like you feel the tension. Like you could cut it with a knife. Like everyone, if Jerry the King Lawler is getting irritated and like siding with Jim Ross, I feel like it's about to be not a good scene.
Right. You're definitely like, because like you definitely know like something's up.
Yeah.
Because like we have all of these like technical difficulties, and like Vince McMahon is not like, he's not outwardly like denying anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's all like, he's being very like shady about it. So it's like, what's up? Like you clearly know like he's not pleased with Jim Ross. Like he has not, I mean, if I owned a company and one of my employees was acting like this, I'd also probably be like, what? But
I'd also probably cut the mic. I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably be like,
100%. But we are kind of seeing a different side to Vince, but then besides the just, here's the guy that's on commentary. You know what I mean? So you're and again, we're gonna see many facets to Vince McMahon. He has many,
I can't wait.
Many sides. This man is like
He's just
he is the WWE's best villain. So
I can't wait to see. I've said that 100 times. I really can't wait to see when it like really the final domino falls and he's just a dick. Like he's just the worst person. Like I can't wait to see him like fully just like morph into that. I really can't
100%. When Venom like finally like takes him
like final form and he's like he's just taken
like
by a demon. Yeah. I can't wait.
Okay, so next we find out that Faarooq was attacked by Ahmed Johnson. So Ahmed Johnson has not officially returned to the WWF at this point. We did have a little skirmish between the two over the phone on Livewire that we talked about in last week's episode. Insane. Where they were both basically, Faarooq was just like, I did what I had to do. And Ahmed Johnson was like, that's fine, but I'm going to do what I have to do. So basically they cuts to like two little promos from the two of them. Faarooq's basically summing up that same point, and Ahmed Johnson is like, you don't know when I'm coming, you don't know where I'm coming, but I'm coming. And it cuts to Faarooq laid out on the floor in like the dressing room while Ahmed Johnson's holding like this big metal like block or something, and thus this takes Faarooq out of the Intercontinental Championship title match, which is just a slight payback for what he did to Ahmed Johnson, because Ahmed Johnson took the opportunity away from Faarooq. Faarooq took the title away from Ahmed Johnson. I don't think Ahmed Johnson's done.
Big T. It's so true. And like he said, he goes, listen, I'm just saying. And he warned him. Ahmed Johnson warned him. He was like, I'm just saying, you attacked me out of the blue, totally unexpected, caught me off guard. I'm just saying, I might do that to you, basically, is what he said. And then next thing we know, hard cut, him with the pipe, referees everywhere, like, get out of here. He looks good, though. I cannot wait wrestling for however long, which obviously we don't know what kind of training he's doing at this point. But he looked great. I mean, he looked in excellent physical condition. Like, I don't really know what to look for in terms of things like that, but he seemed well. I don't know. I'm extremely excited for him to come back, especially now that that beef is like really solidified.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's gonna be so much vengeance.
I know.
Vengeance.
I can't wait. And it's been too long. We miss you. We miss you, Ahmed Johnson.
Oh, no, seriously, please come back because this is like when I was watching him, like even just talking before the whole like hype in the locker room even happened. Well, that sounded very sexual.
Right. Yeah, I heard it. I was like, oh, I know
That
that.
whole I know her. The whole beating and nope, that's
That's just as bad. I'm leaving that. I hope
the scuffle, in
yes,
the
the
locker room. Okay,
skirmish.
the skirmish, the whatever fight happened in the locker room or backstage. While he was talking, I was like, oh man, like I actually really miss him as a wrestler. Like I miss seeing him wrestle because I also only got to see him for like a little bit and then he was injured. Like it was only
A couple weeks.
a couple weeks and then he was gone, and I just loved him as a person. So I'm really excited for him to come back. I feel like it's going to be so awesome.
Next, Mr. Perfect comes out to watch the Intercontinental Championship match between Goldust and the Wild Man Mark Miro. So, Goldust, of course, is accompanied by Marlena, and Mark Miro is accompanied by Sable. I think this was maybe because it was like like an impromptu kind of match. But I think this was a missed opportunity to do something with the Marlena Sable angle that they had the two a couple weeks ago, like they were fighting. Like the two of them were like literally fighting. And in this match, they very much so just kind of stayed in their own lanes, which doesn't seem like the kind of escalation that I would expect.
I did not even think about that, but that is such a good point. And I feel like they weren't even like shown that much.
No, it really wasn't like
wow. That's a great point.
So at the top of this match, when Mr. Perfect comes down to the match, he is kind of joined by JR, who is whispering some nothings into his ear. And then when he joins commentary, he basically calls out Vince McMahon and says like that he sees what Vince McMahon's doing and that he's on to him.
He's like, I got your whole number, Vince McMahon. JR told me everything.
Right.
I was like,
and then
whoa.
You're like, all right.
He's turning the girlies left and right. JR.
I know, he really I wrote down when he comes back, I wrote down Mr. Perfect giving Beached Pirate. You know, it was giving very Will Turner.
Oh yeah, wet.
Right. Just like a like dewy, his like white, like blousey kind of shirt. It's just like, you know, it's just open, like very, very Beached Pirate.
Totally. He was an extra in Pirates of the Caribbean, and like when the boat got hit, they like swam to shore. That was him.
Yes.
Find
him on your nearest like floating log.
On your nearest floating piece of debris.
Right, driftwood.
Jared King Lawler also made a comment about the suit that he was wearing. Jared King Lawler said, "Yeah, nice suit. I personally passed on it when I went to Kmart."
Oh my god. And then did you hear what Mr. Perfect said after that?
No.
He said, yeah, because the sale like tag wasn't on it.
Okay, but also it's Kmart.
That's what I'm saying.
If it's on sale at Kmart, you got it for $4. Like, right, and that's 100%. Good for you. But if it's not on sale, it's maybe 14. Like, you're not necessarily Mr. Moneybags at Kmart, but go off, whatever.
But go off, King.
It was a good impromptu comeback. I'll give him that.
So we get a little promo from Mark Miro before the match starts. It's not his strong suit. It's just not. It's a promo is not. I feel like he hasn't quite found his like voice. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I don't know at where he stands or like what, you know what I mean? Like
what's his creed? Like what?
Right. You know what I mean? If he's not like defending Sable, like I don't know what his like
MO
is. Yeah, like what motivates this man? Like I don't get it.
Yeah, I actually was wondering while I was watching, like while he was coming on, I was like, okay, Mark Miro is such an amazing wrestler. It's ridiculous. Like he's an acrobat. He's so talented. He's getting like win after win after win. He's on such a high streak right now. And I was like, what is it about him that doesn't make him, to me, as like captivating as like a Shawn Michaels or even a Psycho Sid or like anything? There's like something almost like missing. And I don't mean that as an insult. Like I like, because he's very talented. But then when he did his promo, I was like,
That's it.
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing that's missing.
No, I agree. I feel like he just hasn't quite found the thing that makes his character.
Like there's a lack of depth, I feel, because like
yes.
I also like, why are you the wild man? Like, what's the backstory? Like, what does that have to do with? Like,
right, and what does that really like? What does that mean to like you? Like, what is
yes.
is that like something you tap into that like comes out? Is it like a general state of being? Like, what is it? What is it like? What does it
Right.
mean? And like,
Like,
it's your responsibility to like make us understand that.
right.
And like, I just feel like we don't get it. Like, he's so talented, like from bell to bell, like that.
Oh,
He's like on par with like Shawn Michaels or
oh
like
yeah.
Owen Hart as far as like
I was gonna
athletic
say Owen
ability.
Hart. Yeah.
But like, why do you care if he can't talk? You know what
If
I
he's
mean?
got like no stake in the game. Like there's nothing. It feels like there's a lack of driving force.
Right.
And if there is one, it's not communicated.
Right.
Which, so I was like, because the pre-match promo, I was like,
Eh.
I didn't need this. I'd actually rather it be more mysterious than at this point. Like I'd rather it not be anything. Like I'd
Right.
rather you guys not say anything.
Right. And so he comes out. He gets, apparently he has some new pyro, some like some like little spinning little moment. Probably, you know, representative of his championship win.
They dipped into the budget this pay-per-view.
They dipped into the budget this
dipped into
pay-per-view.
the budget.
So on commentary, Jerry the King Lawler does ask Mr. Perfect what he's doing with all these women. Not that we ever got a straight response. Also, once again, we have been asking for weeks. And like, what is he doing with all of these women? Like, no answer. But
he said, what did he say? He literally goes, "Wouldn't you like to know?" And I was like, I would actually, because now I'm afraid for their safety. Literally,
honestly, because
like, are
now,
they in a
now
garage?
I think there's a crime going on.
Because I wasn't worried until you said that.
Right.
Now I'm concerned. And now I feel like there should be an APB out on all these women. Scared.
Yeah.
Scared.
They're going to be on milk cartons for the next like month.
Oh, God.
Like each one of them.
God forbid. Jeez.
God forbid. At one point, Goldust grabs the mic in the middle of the match. So he's got Mark Miro down enough. And I guess the crowd is doing too much for Goldust's liking. And he basically grabs the mic and he's just like, "Shut up. Like, all of you, shut up." And he's like, "If you don't shut up, I'll stick my tongue down all of your throats." And we were just like, "What? Wait. You're going to do what now?" Like,
to all of us, there's like thousands of people here. Do we have to wait in line? Like, what's that process going to be like? Also,
who is your mouth like a truck stop bathroom? Like, get out of here.
No.
Like,
Jesus.
Thousands, like 10,000 people, please.
Like, and what's sick is like, he'd probably do it.
No, he 100% would.
Horrible. But I also
stand there for like 6 hours.
Who was in charge of the sound equipment this episode? Because lawless. JR's headset not working, random mics just appearing in matches, like lawless.
Wild.
They chose violence today, and I'm not mad about it. I just have questions. So
Triple H comes down to ringside during this match because he can't. He's got something to say. You see Triple H and Mr. Perfect kind of inch closer towards each other, exchanging words, never really getting too like close into it. Goldust goes to like confront Mr. Perfect about something, because apparently today's the day to like bring your beef to Mr. Perfect. And he like, honestly,
everybody
and he just turns around and pops Goldust right in the mouth. So Mark Miro takes advantage, gets Goldust set up for the wild thing, performs the shooting star press, and gets the 1-2-3 pinfall victory. And that is the end of this impromptu match.
So wild. I will say the shooting star press is insane.
That move is beautiful. It's just a beautiful move.
Beautiful. The fact that it's a backflip, it's a backflip, isn't it?
Yeah. But it looks so crazy. It's because he's backflipping like towards the ring ropes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So he's facing
Yes.
his opponent and flips this way. So it
Yeah.
looks
Okay.
so
Yes.
there's a moment where it genuinely looks like he might like just land back on the ring ropes, which like gives you that moment of like and then he like, doesn't. But
He does the craziest like tuck. Like he
right.
like gets air tucks. Like it's wow. It's insane. It's like he's levitating. It's such a beautiful
Oh,
move. And again,
he gets some hang time.
that's what I'm saying. Like he's such a good wrestler. He's so good. And he's getting wins. Like he's really getting wins. But he doesn't need to say anything, I think.
But
So
that's okay. We're gonna see where he goes from here.
I know. I'm always so curious now where everybody's gonna go.
I know. I love a pay-per-view is like a hard like reset
Mm-hmm.
because like the next like couple weeks are just kind of like open. You can literally just do whatever.
Yeah, it's a choose your own adventure.
So the following match, we have the Battle of the Bulls. We have Vader versus Psycho Sid in a number one contendership match. Before this match started, we had a like what you described as a power bomb montage between the two. So basically, it's how we got here. It's essentially Vader took exception to the fact that Psycho Sid was using the power bomb. They got like beef. We know that Vader has a pinfall victory in a tag team match over Shawn Michaels. And we know that Psycho Sid and Shawn Michaels have been buddies. And it was announced last week or the week before that the two would come to blows. And whoever is the winner of this match will face Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series for the championship.
Which is the next pay-per-view?
It should be, yes. It's
okay.
This is October. I think it's in November.
Wow, so they're already advertising the next. I love that they advertise the next pay-per-view like before the upcoming one even happens. Like they've been talking about Survivor Series already for like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm like, can we do this one first? Like we just got here.
No, they gotta sell them tickets, baby.
I love that.
So during that montage, we get a little quote from Shawn Michaels, who
oh my god, I love this.
He says, I've experienced the power bomb from Vader, I've experienced the power bomb from Psycho Sid. And to be honest, they both knocked me out. So I can tell you that they're both effective. And I was like, yep.
Because they were like, who has the best one? He goes, I don't know, they both made me unconscious. So they're both very good. What?
He's like, I don't really know what you want me to do with that information.
It's so good. I actually enjoyed the power bomb montage. I thought it was great.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Big fan.
And then so we think the match is about to start, and then Shawn Michaels' music hits, and he comes down looking like $1 million.
Like a snack. He looked so good.
He's got like an all black kind of like under outfit. He's got like a button down into some black jeans, into some like stunning black boots.
Amazing.
And then this like kind of like gray like blazer. His hair's down. His earrings are looking fantastic.
So good.
He just looked like $1 million today. He said this is my night off. I'm coming with the nice outfit.
I'm coming with the nice outfit. I love that about him. And I was gonna say this too. I love how they use, and I can't believe we haven't talked about this before, but I love how they use music in the WWF, because before you even see anybody, you hear the music and you're like, oh shit, like Shawn Michaels is coming out. Why is he here? And then he appears. Right. I just think that's awesome. Like it's just so epic how like that becomes such a huge piece of like who a wrestler is and like how you identify them and relate to them. And it's just like, it's just so cool. I love it. Because I was like, wait a minute. It's Shawn Michaels' music. Why is he here? Like it's just so exciting.
Exactly. And like the ones who have like the best like themes, like you hear like a downbeat of it and like people lose their minds. Like I'm telling you, like going forward, people will hear that broken glass from like just the broken glass part, and they will like the place will erupt because they know he's coming. And like that's so impressive, and just something that like the music is just like so synonymous with who they are, and like eliciting a reaction because it's usually like pretty like punchy, that it just is such a cool tool.
I love it.
They're gonna use like more and more.
Yeah, and I'm really here for it. They really engage not to be like too deep about it, but I feel like they really do engage like it's so much like sensory envelopment because it's like all the visuals,
Oh
the
yeah.
audio, like you're just so tapped in, and I just love that. And I'm sure it's like obviously some sort of like not a marketing thing, but it's intentional, and that's what I love about it. Everything is so intentional about it,
Oh yeah.
and like you're just so immersed. I just love it.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. And it's like it
Awesome.
only gets better from
Can't wait.
here. Like because we're as technology progresses, the
Right.
timing of things gets better, the pyro gets bigger, the things that they can do gets better. So
Thank
like
God.
the lighting gets better. It's all good. It's all going to be great. So during this match, again, this is just two bulls running at each other. It's, you know, hard hitting, lots of like power bombs, lots of clotheslines, lots of punching each other in the head. At one point, Jim Cornette uses a racket on Sid outside of the ring, which has little to no effect on Sid because
Well, it shouldn't. I mean, what was he expecting? He got power bombed or did the Vader bomb. And he just was like, what?
oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about previously. I was like, I thought you were talking about in the match.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So when I don't know why he thought that would have an effect because literally previously Psycho Sid has been hit with the Vader bomb and just gotten up and been like, what?
Right.
So I don't know why he thought the tennis racket was going to be effective, but I guess
Listen, he always thinks the tennis racket's going to be effective. The man,
and that's his problem. One of many, but that's one
right.
of his problems.
At one point, we have Vader kind of facing the rope, Psycho Sid on the outside. He does a sunset flip over Vader to get him into to try and get him into a pinfall predicament. Vader, not having any of it, just ends up squishing him instead. And then we get a Vader splash. He picks up Psycho Sid before he gets the 1-2-3 victory. And then he goes to inflict some more punishment on Psycho Sid. He goes up to the top rope to do the bigger Vader bomb. And Psycho Sid gets his knees up, preventing Vader from completing the move. He gets up, does a choke slam on Vader, and then proceeds to pin him for the 1-2-3 victory, becoming the number one contender.
Insane. And it's so crazy because again, it's another example of how like earlier Triple H had the opportunity and just fumbled the bag. And this was like Vader was just like cocky. Like he was like, no, I'm gonna make him hurt more. Like he totally could have pinned him. And literally Jim Cornette was screaming, just pin him, just pin him. And he was like, nah, I'm gonna do what I can to mess him up even more. And then he got himself messed up. And it was wild. And not one single power bomb was used.
No,
which is
in the entire match, not
so
one power bomb.
Funny. The whole montage before the match of power bomb after power bomb, that was the whole beef.
That was the MO.
I thought that the match was going to be like somehow it was going to end up, you know, when they have like the back and forth. Like I thought it was going to be like Vader gets power bomb, then Sid gets power bomb, then Vader gets, and like who comes out on top? Not one single power bomb. Not even there was like a potential setup for one, and then it
never happened. It just didn't happen. Yeah,
and I was just like,
well,
I mean, I'm not mad at the match because it was good, but I was like, that's kind of weird.
Right? Why give me a 3-minute montage of like the whole point that you're all are beefing is over one move? And then the move doesn't show up at all.
Laid the groundwork of like, we're fighting because I want ownership over this move. And then like, no one did the move.
After the match concludes, Shawn Michaels gets in the ring. He kind of gets in Psycho Sid's face. They kind of have like an exchanging of words before Shawn Michaels raises Psycho Sid's hand. You know, we said it last week, just because they are friends does not really mean too much in the WWF, especially when the title of the company is on the line. So
crazy.
And then Psycho Sid had a promo following that after he got backstage. If you want to elaborate on what happened there.
So it was Doc who started the interview, and then initially I think he gets cut off by Vince McMahon, and he's like, no, I'm doing this. And so he like visibly gets irritated with Vince McMahon. He's like, like rolls his eyes and is like, okay, anyway, and he goes to interview Psycho Sid. Then JR pops up like a little daisy out the blue, just pop, and is like, actually, I'm gonna interview, and like literally pushes Doc out of the way, basically.
Oh my God.
Poor Doc. And he's kind of in the background, like, okay. And he's just like JR, like feverish, manic. He's honestly probably was the perfect person to interview Psycho Sid in that moment. Was like, are you or are you not friends with Shawn Michaels? And he was like, yes. Like, he was like, did you not power bomb him 6 times? Yes. Like, it was so crazy. But then it ended up being a flop because you were so hyped. And then he asked Psycho Sid a question that was more than yes or no. And he like flopped. He started to say a sentence and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna beat him. Like, it was so weird. I was like, oh no,
I'm gonna beat him. I got it.
I was like,
thanks, guys.
And he was like, okay, bye. Like, not quite like that, but it was like, yes, yes, yes. And then he's like, oh, this is a question more than yes. I don't know. Like, there was a huge awkward silence, but it was even more like loud in terms of how silent it was because it was so verbally loud 3 seconds earlier. So it was just, I was just like, like, it was just that awkward, like, I hate to watch it kind of thing. And then he's like, see you next week. And then he's like,
he really Simon Garfunkel us, just gave us the sound of silence, and fucking just like was just content to just leave us with that.
Darkness, my old friend. Yeah, 100%. It was so uncomfortable to behold, and not his fault. He just like literally, you saw his brain just like clunk to a halt, and then like go like and start again. And then I was like, oh God, this poor man, and you could tell like he was like damn it, and he was like, okay, bye. He was like, whatever. So it was just a mess from top to bottom, to be honest.
So we'll see. I guess more on that because the match is coming at the next pay-per-view.
We'll see it then.
All right, guys. Now, the main event.
Oh my God.
The main event, the reason we're all here, the thing we have been talking about for weeks and weeks.
Thinking about it. Whew.
The Buried Alive match between Mankind and The Undertaker. This match is unsanctioned by the WWE, meaning that they will not take responsibility for whatever happens during this match. There are no rules, no disqualifications, no countouts. So, the objective of the match
is homicide.
Bingo!
Is murder.
Incapacitate your opponent to the point where you can drag them to the constructed grave and bury them alive. So good.
So crazy. I said to Xavier while they were like setting up for the match, I was like, it just dawned on me how weird it is to listen to how excited everyone is to talk about potential murder. Like, they're like, he might be buried alive. Woo! Like, he might die. Let's get ready to rumble. Like, it was just like, wait a minute. Like, this is actually
let's
so
actually
bizarre.
think about the consequences of what we're doing here.
Because they're also saying it's an unsanctioned match, which I totally understand why. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, who paid for all this dirt then?
I was like, there's a lot of levity around this subject matter.
Sounds like just a loophole in the paperwork to me, but I don't know who paid for all this dirt or this custom headstone, but it wasn't me.
No.
And it wasn't you. So I'm assuming it was the WWE.
I don't think it came out of Mankind's pocket. I honestly don't know if the man has pockets.
Don't think so. And I don't think he probably has anything of monetary value. But
no, it's just like 3 like ancient like gold pieces, like doubloons, and like broken like teeth.
And like animal bones. He's this'll work, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
At 7-Eleven. He's like,
yeah, you just catch him like on like any like alleyway, just shaking them as if it's gonna tell him his future. You know, he like shakes it, like dumps it onto like the corner. He's like, yes.
Yes, okay. He just like me for real.
I don't know why I've like turned him into something completely different. But
again, theme of the episode, not know.
No, not know.
Not know.
Not know. So Vince McMahon has a quite the adjective to describe Paul Bearer as he joins Mankind down the ring. He
This
refers
was
to this
horrible.
man as bulbous.
Bulbous.
That's a human being. That's a
Is he
person.
though? Is
And
he
he
though?
said bulbous.
Oh my god. And then what JR said afterwards was, because I thought Bulbous was bad, and then what JR said about how his family would celebrate Halloween. Did you hear that?
No.
You're gonna die right now.
Okay.
Okay. JR said because it was coming off of the Bulbous comment. He was like, or not JR, I'm sorry. Jerry the King Lawler was like, yeah, when his family celebrates Halloween, they don't get a jack-o'-lantern, they just put Paul Bear in the window.
Oh my god. Yes. That's beautiful. I'm sorry. Sometimes he really does come through with just like it's heinous. Like, don't get me wrong, but like
His brain.
I know.
How did he get there?
I know.
He
I
heard the
really
word
want
bulbous
it.
and went, he looks like a pumpkin, jack-o'-lantern,
Yes.
Halloween, his family. And in a split second was like, yeah, his family doesn't carve
Right.
jack-o'-lanterns, they put Paul Bearer in the window.
Oh,
Just
this match so good. So the Undertaker makes his entrance. And so at first it looks like he's going to come out of the grave because it's just like the grave is the only thing lit and it's like highlighted, but you can kind of see the lighting of like the smoke of the Undertaker's like entrance kind of creeping over like the entrance or like the lighting of the headstone, which was kind of a cool effect. And I don't know if that's like why they were focusing on that in particular, but the Undertaker comes out and like no hat, no hat, no coat, business. Business.
Love to see it.
And it is violent from the rip. They enter the ring and the Undertaker starts swinging on Mankind.
Like crazy. Within the first 2 minutes, Mankind is thrown out of the ring into the barrier really hard. Like,
he
to the point where
him.
we were like, oh my god, like smacked it into the metal barrier.
So the Undertaker is inside of the ring and Mankind is on the floor.
Yes.
And Mankind tries to grab both of the Undertaker's ankles to trip him, thus bringing him outside onto the floor with him. But instead, the Undertaker kind of rears back and like kicks his leg out like really hard. And Mankind, I guess, like just like absolutely loses his footing from like the force of the kick. And you see his head just barely like smack it, like as far as like how much of his body hit the guardrail wasn't that much, but it was like from his like shoulders to like the top of his head hit it with like such force that like you're like, oh, his neck's broken. Like that, it looked horrible.
Sounded horrible too.
And then the Undertaker from that point proceeds to get onto the top rope and jump from the turnbuckle outside of the ring onto Mankind. Like,
crazy.
This is the opening 5 minutes of this match.
5 minutes. I was like, holy. I was like, they got started so fast. There wasn't even a little bit of back and forth. It was just like, just hit after hit, and they were insane.
At one point, the Undertaker starts choking Mankind with a microphone cord. Just just garroting him with a microphone cord.
Yep. Even Paul Bearer was like screaming at the ref like he's choking him, and the ref was like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like,
right. There are no rules.
There are no rules. I don't even know why the ref was there. I guess only to be like, okay, like
ring the bell.
Or what? Yeah, that's it. But like he was literally like, I can't do anything because it is what it is.
It is what it is. So they fight out into the crowd.
Yeah.
Which was insane.
Insane.
And so the Undertaker throws Mankind back over the guardrail forcefully and then proceeds to do a running, like leaping clothesline over he clears the guardrail.
Track and field.
Clears the guardrail and nails Mankind on the other side. It was stunning.
And he did not have that much room it wasn't like that much of a running start. Like it was like maybe 6 feet. Maybe 8. Like it was not that big of a distance. And I was like, there is no way. And he just ran and just launched himself over, takes down Mankind again. I was like, it was just crazy.
It was nuts. And then so he gets Mankind back in the ring, and he's going to perform Old School, which is the twisted arm thing where he walks the top
I was
rope.
gonna say, speaking of nuts.
And then so Undertaker is on the top rope, walking, about to deliver Old School, when Paul Bearer messes up the ring ropes, thus making the Undertaker do the splits onto the top rope.
I would have immediately projectile vomited.
Paul Bearer then gives I would not. That would have been the end of the match for me. That would have been done.
No shot, none.
Paul Bearer gives Mankind some kind of like shiv or like a weapon or like a spike, and which Mankind proceeds to use on the Undertaker repeatedly. Undertaker at one point goes after Paul Bearer and is like just kind of stalking him outside of the ring.
I wanted to see that fight so bad. Like I wanted him to get
his hands on Paul Bearer, absolutely, because
so bad.
He deserves it.
Yep.
But Mankind and Paul Bearer kind of go back and forth, distracting the Undertaker between like the threat of a chair shot and the threat of getting hit in the back of the head with the urn. So eventually, Paul Bearer smacks the Undertaker in the back of the head of the urn. The Undertaker does the hair flip and is like, "You thought," starts coming after Paul Bearer, only to get nailed in the head with a chair shot by Mankind.
Like the chair by the end of this match was dented beyond recognition.
And then it cuts to Mankind just licking the chair.
Yeah, which was odd.
Horrible.
It was just horrible to behold, really.
So eventually, the Undertaker doesn't stay down for long. He ends up with possession of the chair and bends the chair over Mankind's back.
Yeah.
And then proceeds to lay it on Mankind's face and then do a leg drop with the steel chair. Just effortlessly. So good. And performs the tombstone on Mankind, points to the graveyard. And the crowd just loses it.
Insane.
He gets the tombstone and it pops up, and immediately, normally that's when he kind of calls for like the end of the match where he's gonna do like the pin. He just points to the graveyard. And
mean, he's one of those wrestlers, like he doesn't have to do anything verbal. Like he doesn't ever yell. Like he doesn't ever say anything. Like he literally he just stood there and was just like, to the graveyard.
Yep.
The crowd, me, you losing it. Absolutely losing it. I was like so powerful. Incredible.
And he then proceeds to drag Mankind towards the grave. They're kind of like, he hip tosses Mankind like onto the dirt, like onto the ground. And Mankind comes back and hits him with the mandible claw. And we think like this is going to be the end of it. Like this is it. But then the Undertaker choke slams Mankind into the grave,
which looked like it went a little askew because it looked like Mankind hit like his body on the way down. Yeah. Which no matter what way you were gonna do that, wasn't gonna feel good because you're going 6 feet into the ground. But like I was like, because he kind of went like, and it was just,
it must have been hard to like line up. I don't know if you noticed, but it was hard it looked like it was difficult to climb up the sides of that because of how steep it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
So like I can't imagine it was like the most sturdy thing in the world.
No, how they were even able to like utilize that at all, which I guess it was so steep because the grave had to be 6 feet. Allegedly. So I get it, but also I was like, I just realized this is basically like loose, very fine dirt. So it's almost like sand. So they're kind of trying to like get up this 6 foot, very steep hill, and they're like slipping and sliding. And so I can imagine like lining that up would be extremely difficult. I don't know how they did anything with that little cemetery. It's crazy.
So after, honestly, the set was cool though. Like, don't get me wrong.
It was amazing, and I love that it was just there the whole night, and they had like little like lights on it, and it was just there. It was nuts.
And then so the Undertaker then proceeds to throw enough dirt on Mankind to be declared the winner of the match. So the Undertaker is the official winner of the Buried Alive match, and then he gets attacked with a shovel, like
by
by some guy in a mask who
Some
is
guy.
huge, like ripped, and like when he hits him with a shovel, like you hear the whack
Oh,
of
it was
like
bad.
and then the man that attacked the Undertaker proceeds to jump into the grave, like undig Mankind, get him out, and then dump the Undertaker into the grave.
Like, who
And
is this
then
man? Like, what?
he kind of looked like he had like that old school like executioner like mask.
Yeah, he's looked like an old timey like executioner, like from
Like the
like the
French
medieval
Revolution or
era.
something.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. So the Undertaker's in the grave, and then so Mankind and this like hooded figure are like throwing as much dirt as humanly possible, and then like 6 other wrestlers appear and just start like dumping dirt onto the
Vile.
honestly, I don't think this was like a oh, like let's just like have like these specific like I think it's gonna take them way too much time to get all of this dirt on the Undertaker covered enough.
We need
So
backup.
we need backup. So I think they just sent a bunch of wrestlers out there to like help. And
Because it was like
and Paul Bearer
Goldust.
did a good job of being like, yes, like I will pay you like handsomely, like blah blah, blah. Basically being like they're under his like employee.
Like hired hands and like
Right.
but like Triple H was there and I was like, what are you
Like,
doing
don't you have
here? Like,
enough going on?
yeah,
Like,
like I swear, like, I feel like you got enough problems. Like, have you looked for one single missing lady this whole time? No.
no.
But I was like, oh, and I was like, I hope, because I was like, Undertaker has to come back. Like, they didn't actually kill him, but like I was like, I hope when he comes back, he has just like a hit list of all the people that helped, even though it was like not. I totally agree with what you're saying, where it was like definitely they were like, this would take too long, because it even took too long with 6 people out there, like too long.
Agreed.
But I was like, I hope he comes back with like a hit list of all these people that helped bury him.
That would have been a great way. That would have been a great way to do that. Not gonna lie. Like they just start like airing just like the list like before he comes back, you know?
Or
That
like
would have been
every
sick.
time he comes back, they just like he just has like a little piece of paper and then he just goes and like
LOL.
crosses a name out.
The whole time they are like burying the Undertaker, just throwing dirt on him. Paul Bearer is just screaming that he's gone forever, like just absolutely losing his mind, like just over and over again. He's like, yes, fill it all the way to the top.
Wait,
Like
oh my god, it's like he's really here.
oh my god, you're welcome.
Wow. I'm like, Paul?
So they finally like they get it filled, and then the Undertaker's music starts playing. And then all the wrestlers scatter.
Run.
They said, nope, I'm
Not me,
not
girl.
doing that. Not today. So they all scatter. And eventually, like, you see, you see the shit-eating grin on Paul Bearer's face just kind of get wiped. Because anytime you hear that like bell that yeah,
I was like, oh,
you know it's about to get real. So then lightning strikes the headstone.
oh my
And
god, it was
the entire pay-per-view ends with just a purple hand shooting out of the grave, just like, I'm still here. Like that is how they end the pay-per-view.
oh my god, it was so good. When
So
the
good.
lightning struck the grave,
so good.
deceased. I was like, how did they even do that? Like, I literally don't even understand how they did that. It was such a good touch, because did they really actually need to do that?
No.
Did they really actually need to do that? No. But did they do it for us? Yes.
Yes.
Did they save me by doing that? Yes.
But it was a great way of getting everybody to like pay attention to it again. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like it could have been easy to get distracted by the exiting wrestlers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it was such a loud like flashbang that it's just like your attention, you're back. And
yes.
I love that it just ends with just his hand shooting up.
Because
it is the best way I could have possibly ended that.
But I can see I'm glad they did the flashbang, like you said, because it was taking so long for them to bury him and then like the whole thing to happen. I was like, they need to like, I feel like they needed to bring it back a little bit. So like the lightning, you're like, wait, oh my god. Right. Like as if you were gonna start leaving the as if they're like, all right, well, it's over, and you were gonna start like leaving your seat, and then suddenly he's like, bang,
Bang.
like, oh, just
You're
kidding,
back.
stay where
Just
you are,
kidding.
stay where you are. And then the hand with the glove. Wow.
So good. And
So
it's
good.
just, it's so open-ended because it's just like, is he going to be back like next week? Is he coming back like, you know what I mean? Is he coming back strategically?
Is he undigging himself? Is someone
coming?
Like, and I liked that he didn't actually just like completely fully formed pop out. Like, I'm glad it was just the hand, because like you said, it added that element of just like, what's gonna happen? Like, it was just like,
right? Like,
so good.
It's like, did we bury like this version of the under, like what is it?
Because the lightning struck, like, is he going to be reborn as something new? Like, I'm just so excited. He's just so interesting. Like, any iteration of him, I feel like I will be fascinated by.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's so phenomenal.
And do we know, like, out of just pure curiosity, like how much, because I'm sure he developed the character, like, as a person. Like, he was like, that was his idea, because he was an actual Undertaker, right?
So Paul Bearer was an actual Undertaker.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about this.
I'm pretty sure the Undertaker like idea was just presented to the Undertaker, but he like just took it and like ran with it.
Because I'm always like wondering, like, in terms of how the show like and like shakes out in terms of like that, for example, like, okay, like you're gonna get buried, and then like how about just like the hand comes up, like who, like how involved are the wrestlers in that conversation of like
gonna be I feel like at this point we kind of go, so the era that we're coming like out of is like, you know, the 80s, early 90s. That is all like, you have a booker who is usually whoever owns the whatever, and they are kind of responsible for all of those decisions.
Okay.
In the era we're getting into, is kind of the first time you kind of see more of a collaboration from the wrestlers and the creative side of, you know, the whoever is making those decisions.
Okay.
If you'll notice as we like go like forward, that certain wrestlers like don't get like there are no scripted like promos. There are some wrestlers that are so like that have earned the right to just be like, you have 10 minutes, go do whatever you got to do for 10 minutes.
Wow.
So
crazy.
We're kind of entering a more collaborative era as far as like the exchanging of ideas, as far as like when what wrestlers have a say in.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, Vince is the boss. So if he wants you to do something you don't necessarily like want to do, like, sorry, it's his show. It's his show. It's his company. He signs the paycheck. So
crazy.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, that's how it kind of shakes out.
Wow.
But that pay-per-view was amazing.
Crazy. And like, so the Undertaker takes the win, but then
kind of takes an L, but comes back.
Yeah, an L, like takes a mountain of dirt to the whole body and has a little comeback. So I'm excited because I think that like there's been so many times where he like wins or he like doesn't win. He's just getting like knocked down a lot, but like still like holding on. Like he has that like that grit factor where he's like, I'm still holding on and I'm still exceptional. Like no matter how many times I get knocked down. So I'm excited to see like where this goes. Cause like what happens now? Cause like the beef with Paul Bearer and Mankind is still obviously very relevant. Like it's not like that went, you know, that was like, all right, now we're done. Like, yeah, now we're done. Cause that went totally normally. So I'm just like, I'm so intrigued as to where it's going to go next. Cause like, where do you go after you literally bury someone alive? Like, where do you go from there? So excited.
So yeah. All right. So that was this week's episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. The Buried Alive pay-per-view was phenomenal. We want to say thank you as always for joining us and letting us babble. This one should be a decently long one, so if you're still with us, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Next week we are going to see the return of Bret the Hitman Hart to the WWF, and it'll be Kelsey's first exposure to Mr. Perfect in the ring.
Oh my god, yeah. Wow, that's gonna be a good episode too. I'm so excited.
So thank you all for joining us on our journey through the Attitude Era, and we will see you next week.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.